Kristy Moreno earned her Associates in Arts from Santa Ana College in Santa Ana, California, and her BFA in Ceramics from California State University. Moreno's work has been exhibited nationally and internationally at venues including Museum and Cultural Center in Anaheim, California, Glass L Gallery in Baton Rouge, Lucy Lacoste Gallery, Valerie Gallery in Dubai, and at Think Space Projects and Tlaloc Studios in Los Angeles. Her work has been featured in publications including Voyage LA, Las Vegas Weekly, Beautiful Bazaar, and Artifix Daily. Moreno is the recipient of various awards and residencies, including the Taunt Fellowship, the Wingate Lamar Fellowship, and the Jack Windsor Memorial Scholarship. Moreno recently completed a 2-year residency at the Archie Bray Foundation in Helena, Montana, and began a 3-month residency at Ceramico Suro in Guadalajara, Mexico in February of this year, and is now in New York City. We're excited because she's close to Philadelphia. Welcome, Kristy.
Thank you. Whew. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. So I'll just go ahead and start. My name is Kristy Moreno. I'm really thankful to have been included in this exhibition. Just extremely thankful. So I was born in Inglewood, California, Southern California, where that little heart is on the map. And both of my grandparents are from the state of Jalisco in Mexico and the state of Colima, so neighboring states. When I was younger, I spent a lot of time in both of these places, Southern California in Redondo Beach. We're always at the beach. My father and my mother had us at a very young age, so that's us at the beach on the left. I think that's my older brother. And on the right is in the small town where my father grew up in Zacualco de Torres, Jalisco. That's me with the little bottle at the bottom. And then that's my grandparents and my mom and my dad and my brother, or my dad's siblings. So he comes from a very large family. I come from a family of artists. My mom took a lot of photographs of us when we were smaller. And then my father is a metal fabricator, so he worked on cars like his whole life. So that's my older brother on the tires. They're like using us as props. I grew up Catholic. My family is very religious. And I grew up again around makers. My grandmother, because she had so many kids, she would make all of their clothes. And my grandfather worked on tombstone headstones. So I was always creating, or I saw people creating, which led me to just be interested in art in general. So after high school, I didn't have a plan to go to the university, so I just studied art through magazines. This is my first Juxtaposed magazine that I got on the left side, which is a photography one. And I just learned about contemporary art, and I started making art myself. I also learned about all of these artists. So these are a lot of like influential people that I look up to. So graffiti artists, muralists, illustrators from all over the world, which is, yeah. This is Banksy. This is from 2005. This is an image that I saw at a very young age. And so seeing all of this graffiti and seeing all of these images really formed my style and my values at a very young age. I was into stencils, American hardcore, punk rock music, graffiti. All of these books really influenced what I wanted to do. So like I said, once I graduated high school, I didn't go into the university. I just started making my own things. And all of this formed my aesthetic. So in that time after high school, I was just making art with a bunch of friends, really good homegirls, set of girlfriends on the left, where we could just dress up and we could make things, and it was really like free time to just express ourselves. And on the right is a community of producers and artists that I also was a part of. And every month we would meet up, and this is where I learned, about all these people in my community were everyone was actively making things, and I found that really inspirational to do my own things. So this is some early work. I started as a painter and as an illustrator. So drawing, painting. I didn't have a lot of money, so if I found wood on the streets, I would just find, just grab it and take it home and use really cheap Walmart paint and really cheap like house paint that I would find at Home Depots. So I started creating these characters, and they were always like self-portraits that were kind of large diary entries that I would hide little messages in and just worked on them consistently. So these are more paintings, some pattern work. And so this is my bedroom. This photo was taken in like 2016. So in this time of my life, I was going to community college. I was just kind of taking courses here and there. I was taking art classes, but nothing too seriously. But then um, in this year, I was going through like a breakup from someone from like 5 years. And apart from that, like that same year, my father ended up going to prison and he's still there now. So I just stopped going to school. I didn't see like, it was really hard for me to do anything other than just go to work. And um, that was it. So I was like, I don't want to do school right now. It doesn't seem like something I want to do. So I took a 2-year break and I still made art, but I didn't really, do too much. And then in 2017, 2018, I kind of decided it was time to get back into making art because it was just, I got over being like mopey around the house and I needed to do something for myself. I needed to stay busy. So I found ceramics. And this is the work that I was doing. I was making functional stuff. Went to a community college and, started applying a lot of like the stencil work that I was into and the illustrations into my stuff. And it was really a perfect way for me to stay busy and to meditate and to put all of that energy into something outside of myself. I guess just trying to like make things. When I transferred to university, I also got into printmaking, and this style of work was very politically based, like very political in the message. And yeah, this is just a screen print that I did. I was also doing relief prints. So this is El Barrio No Se Vende, talking about gentrification that was happening in my city. We were giving the assignment of talking about a social with a social message, and this is what was happening. This is a ceramic wall piece that was part of my BFA show called Decolonize, and it was kind of bringing all of these different, so we're talking about like of women being murdered in Mexico. This was during 2020 when the riots were happening. And so it's about like a futuristic character kind of talking about the past, like these are telling the stories of the past of this exact year. So this is just a photograph of my grandmother and the family. Coming from a family of like really strong female figures, I wanted to just and just my family in general talk about how when they move to the States, there's a lot of assimilation that happens when people migrate and come into the US. And so there wasn't a lot of cultural teachings in my family. And so learning about our indigenous past was not something that was taught to us, and it was just like you're busy working and you're busy trying to make a living for your kids. That part of like teaching us just kind of like didn't really make it. So this is just some slides talking about our indigenous backgrounds and how I identify as a Chicana. When you're not really Mexican and you're not really American, you're kind of in between. This is just some pachucas, just some like influence and some of the hairstyles that I kind of like bring into my work because these are like women that were seen as rebels, like they didn't assimilate and they were just trying to make their own style and go against the grain. I was also looking at these homies when I was growing up, which are just like little figurines that I grew up seeing at all like the burger stands. So they're just like little elements that I pull into my work. So these are some of the figures that I started doing when I was at the Bray. I wanted to move away from the really political work and focus more on like the joy that our communities have and that we put out into the world, and started making these figures that we're kind of taking their power back, and we're not being shown as like all of these traumatic scenes that we were seeing so often on our screens at home. This is a figure that I was doing, and multiple times people would send me this figure on the right that said, "Did you know that your figure is looking like these Mesoamerican figures from Guerrero?" And I had no idea. So it was a nice surprise to like see them and then put them side by side. And so I was looking at these pre-Columbian and Mesoamerican pieces. I was really interested in relief sculpture and just that technique. And so I just started, you know, I wanted to change my style up and make larger work, and again, focus on the joy and the community and the power of sisterhood that has helped me in like really difficult times in my life. And so these are just friends. And so after making that work, I really wanted to switch it up and be more reflective of my own community. Just a quick pictures of how I do the work. So it's hollow. It's just a vessel form that's hollow, and this is just how they start. Um, we'll just skip the videos because I have a bunch of photos. This is a piece, juntas. It means, it translates to together, and I just really wanted to show the bonds between the figures on these vessels, similar to the ones that are in the show. But this is a piece that I started that really started to embody that style that I wanted to do. Yeah, we can do it. This is just a process video of how the work is done. I just freestyled the drawings. I try not to think about them too much as I'm going and let them just kind of play out. So we don't have to watch this whole one, but I'll wait a little bit. Thanks. Yeah, so the vessels are just simple. I just build them like a cylinder, and then once I draw them out and have the image ready, I leave it open at the top so I can push in and start bulging them out a little bit more.
You have a drawing first in order to like decide what's like the exterior shape of the vessel is, or do you just make it and then you just draw?
Do I have a drawing of the peat of this?
You make a sketch before you.
Oh no, not for these. I think I found it easier to just draw it on there and freestyle it, because then I'm not too worried about thinking or trying to get it exact. Yeah.
Amazing. Like the fact that this is the arm. Anyway, yeah, like that one line made it into an arm.
Yeah.
Want to go to the next one? Or
Yeah, let's do the next one. Or what? Let you click on that? This is, yeah, more. This one's already drawn on there. I think so, yeah. This is after it's drawn and it's kind of laid out. This one isn't in the show, but it's one of them. So, and it's cool. That one with the heart earrings actually stayed like pretty similar, which is nice. So I wanted to show like they're like touching, they're like holding each other, kind of like in groups, and just the contact of them. And I think the next one's like the finished one. There it is. Yeah, so it's hard to see with just one view. So I started taking these videos where you could just see all the sides. This is when it's just done. Yeah. Thank you. Sweet. This one is called Curiosa. This one's talking about these two figures kind of being curious about each other, kind of like giving each other eyes. In my family, there aren't a lot of people who are queer or outwardly gay, and so I think it was just like a theme or like something like a topic in my family that wasn't really spoken about. It kind of kept like hush hush, and so clay is a wonderful medium for me to play out these like these images and just try to like um, bring this narrative work into a 3D object. This is no parking on the dance floor, multiple sides, and I'll just show more. I wanted to incorporate kind of like a car in this scene, and it's kind of like this girl that's calling her friends to come and hang out. And so these are the other characters on the other side. Tomboy, Sirena Fresa. I started noticing that a lot of the characters were coming out often. So like I started naming them and they each have like their own characteristics. These are some of the earrings that are on the pieces. This one's in the show. This is the Mija Chula Chingona. I use a lot of like terms that are in Spanish, but they're endearing terms that I would hear growing up as a child that my grandmother would say. And so every time I hear them, it reminds me of her, and I would like to incorporate them in the work, resembling like the door knocker earrings that um, we usually see in photographs. And this is photographer Thalia Goches, who has amazing work. And so it's just like an example of what I'm riffing off of. Lean on Me is another ceramic wall piece. I wanted to go back to my painting roots and make some ceramic wall pieces that have a 2D elements to it. So this is another piece that is not in this one, but is similar to the one in the show. Future homegirls, just for homegirls, you don't really know what time period they're in, but they kind of like pull styles from all these different decades. And so I like to just mix it up and not really give them to like a specific timeline. I want them to kind of resemble people in the future, riffing off like past decades. And so this past summer, or this past like few months, I was in Mexico and I was able to see a lot of this Mesoamerican work in person as opposed to seeing it in books all the time. So these are some figures that I saw in Oaxaca, and on the right is at the Anthropology Museum in Mexico City. This is just a quick slide of some friends that I met in Mexico City who were really influential to my work that I'm making now. I wanted to kind of jump back into making figurative work and pull away from the vessel forms and individualize the characters to give them just give them like a well-rounded presentation. So these are my friends on the left, and then this is their studio on the right, and they have like a homemade raku kiln, and I was like, this is where they fire this work, and I just found that extremely inspiring. This is the last piece that I made in Mexico in Guadalajara. It's like a figure that's about 3 feet tall, and it's these two figures, and again playing with the narrative and putting my interests into these pieces with graffiti and still talking about friendship and community, but just kind of um, building on the themes that I was already doing, but giving them more form. I was just finished a residency at Greenwich House Pottery, so this is some of the work that I finished up there. I'm going back to like my illustration background and making them into 3D forms again. So this is just like a graffiti artist character that I had drawn in the summer and had and just made. This is another figure. This is the original sketch, the process of bisquing in the middle, and then the final product on the right side. So again, just going back into figure work and playing around with that. This is the last piece that I have on the slide, which is another person who's tagging essentially in this photo, and I'm just excited to continue this path and see where it goes. And that's it. Thank you. I'm actually still in Bushwick. I have a short 3-month residency, just finishing up the work that I started at Greenwich House. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I named some of them, yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, I think it's different elements of myself or different personality or characteristics of friends. So like one of them is called the fresa, and fresa in English translates to like someone who's who likes the expensive life. And then we got like a tomboy, which is my nickname, and then the sirena is a mermaid, like the hair, like the way that she keeps her hair and all that. So yeah, it's like a little bits of like people in my life and people I grew up knowing. So yeah. Yes.
Your stuff will kind of remind me of like graphic novels and comic books.
Mhm.
Are you a big comic book person?
I actually am not. I just pull from it. I really like the style, but I never really got into a lot of graphic. I mean, I like animations and I like, movies like that, but I can't say I have like a specific comic book or author that I enjoy. I just really love the style. Yes.
That's crazy.
The crazy eyes.
Conventional.
Yeah. Well, I felt like when I started drawing, I always started with the eyes and like I always did. And so I think when I got into clay, I always accentuated them. Another aspect of that is when COVID happened, I felt like a lot of people really took an importance to like putting more I don't know, attention to their eye makeup, and like you saw like it like blew up, like all of that eye makeup art really blew up, and I think I just really pull from all of that as well. It's the first thing you pay attention to. And another aspect of my work is that I glaze very small parts of the work, and the eyes is one of them because I want you to like want to catch your attention as you're walking by. Yeah. Yes. When do I close it? Um, like after that it's drawn, like after it's drawn, I can kind of see where the heads are going to meet up. And so I also learned that, if you close it at the top and it's more like a dome, you're bound to like get a crack, or if it's kind of more flat. So I learned you can kind of bunch up two heads together and kind of create a crease, and that creates like a little arch, making it a stronger support system for it to not crack open. So once I draw them and I see where their heads are going to meet, then I know when to kind of join them together. Yeah, thank you for asking. Yeah, so once I push out and I get a basic shape, and after I close, I can still scratch and add to the aspects. Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I have some work that is like that. Like some of my BFA show was like that. I haven't I would love to do something bigger, like maybe if it's like a mural and it's all carved pieces. I would love to do that someday, but there's so much time. So, yeah. There's so much time. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.